Okay, thank you. The notice is hereby given that the Zoning Board of Appeals of the City of Jamestown, New York will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, April 7th, 2021 at 5:00 p.m. via Zoom to consider the following. The petition of Brian Johnson, 55 Shady Lane, Jamestown, New York, 14701, for an area variance to construct a new 26-foot by 40-foot, 1,040 square foot multi-car garage on parcel 387.16-6-53 owned by Janet Lauren in an R1 zone. Section 300-0317F, accessory structures. In any R district, no accessory building shall exceed 720 square feet in area and have a dimension that exceeds 36 feet. The proposed area is 1,040 square feet and proposed dimension is 40 feet.
Thank you. At this point, the petitioners, please identify yourself, name and home address. You are allowed to, again, give us any more detail that you care to that's in reference to the specifics that you gave in the application.
Okay, well, my name is Brian Johnson, and I am the basically subcontractor with the idea and the plans. The lady sitting next to me is the property owner, Janet Lauren.
Mr. Johnson, can you give me your home address, please?
It's 55 Shady Lane.
Thank you. Okay, do you have anything that you'd like to add to the information? We were given all of the details in the application and also the drawings.
Well, I found the requirements for the application pretty straightforward and easy to follow. We had a vision of what we would like this building to look like, and we had submitted our concept plans to Larry. And, he looked at that and felt that we pretty much clearly defined the character of the building that we want to erect. And that it, in my mind, hopefully adds to a missing link in our neighborhood, which is most of the homes are constructed in a craftsman style construction based on the date of build around 1910, 1920. But all of the lots are significantly small, and they don't allow the resource for adding an accessory structure like what we're proposing. The advantage that we have when Janet bought this property, there were 3 adjoining lots across the street, which we've merged with the residents. That gives us a lot of free space and area to be able to build this and make it look like it's been there for 100 years.
Okay. At this point, we'd like to open this up then to have members of the board ask questions. Is there anyone who would like to start? Please raise your hand. Mr. Sorg.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Steve Sorg. Thanks for being here. You mentioned, Mr. Johnson, that you were a subcontractor. What does that mean?
Well, I'm not basically a subcontractor. I'm her consultant because we live together, and this structure is something that we're both going to enjoy from different aspects. One of the goals that we wanted to meet was to be able to generate secure space off street for parking. We have a downhill neighbor with children with multiple vehicles, and sometimes that can get quite congested, especially in the winter with snow removal. So we're looking at the one particular target usage, and that is to get the vehicles off the street where they're safe and secure from the weather.
How many vehicles do you have?
Well, I have a Silverado pickup. Janet has a Toyota Corolla that we drive every day in the winter. But we do have a sport vehicle for the summer. And next week we're driving to Florida for a new little mini luxury car.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I say we have acquired a little luxury sport car.
I see. Okay. All right.
I'm an enthusiast, an automotive enthusiast from the 60s, and I like to keep things nice.
Okay, sure.
And unfortunately, when you live on the street, you can't keep things nice.
You look like you keep your house very nice. Looks like you have a construction project going on at the house as well, do you?
Yeah, we have too many projects going on. Yeah, we're doing a remodel and an addition. It was put on in 1950. Upgrading it to the modern building standards. A new bathroom, a laundry room, and a real bedroom.
So how would you use this building that you're proposing on the lot?
Well, it would be primarily, like I said, keeping the vehicles off the street. But I'm a mechanic and an engineer, and I'm a type A personality, and I like to keep the vehicles and everything nice. So this space where we have the things secured, access to my tools and everything, it'll allow me to keep our current vehicles pretty darn nice.
You indicated on the application that part of this building would be used as a wood shop. Are you a wood maker? Are you? I know you just said that you're a mechanic, but would this building also be used as a wood shop?
I work with my hands, and I'm artistic and creative. I love restoring and rebuilding antique furniture. We're converting the inside of the car the inside of the house to true craftsmen. So the garage will give me a little extra space to do furniture repair and refinishing for our own use.
Okay, do you do that for yourself or do you do it for others? Is it a business?
I used to do it for a small business, traveling to an antique show monthly in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Saline. So yeah, at one point in time, 10, 15 years ago, I did do it as a trade on spare time, but now it's strictly hobby work.
Well, this is an R1 area, and it requires a residential use, of the primary house, I believe, and also of any other buildings on the property. So I guess my question is are you going to use this for your own personal use, or would you be using it for a business use?
Oh no, it'd be personal use.
Just personal use, okay. And how much of that building would be a workshop, and how much of it would be for cars?
Probably 10% workshop.
10% workshop, okay. And the kinds of tools you'd have in that workshop would just be a table saw, grinders, sanders, that type of thing.
That'd be my two basic tools: is a precision table saw and a planer joiner.
Okay, any sprayers? Do you spray in there, paint spray?
Everything is hand finished as if you were refinishing in your house.
Okay, all right. You commented, can you just describe to me the front of it? It's 28 feet facing the street and 40 feet you're proposing going toward Camp Street?
Yes, it's actually
Okay.
26 feet
26,
wide.
okay.
And
By
sad
40,
but
okay.
true, with the way the cost of building materials are going up, we've selected a carriage house style 16-foot garage door. And while we've been in this particular process, that door has gone up $1,000 in cost.
Sure.
So it's
And how about, is there a loft with this, an accessible loft, or is there trusses above the first floor?
it's going to be a truss roof, attic truss, so there won't be any posts.
Okay, all right. And there's no storage then on the second floor, any use to that loft area?
There will be, but it's going to be like a 5.5 foot, 6 foot ceiling height.
Okay. And what utilities will you have in that building in addition to electric, water?
No water, no drains, just a straight 220 electric service off the pole.
Just going down, through some of the questions here, and feel free to jump in and develop a dialogue with me. And you indicate about the character of the neighborhood, that you don't think that there'll be any impact on this building, in the neighborhood, that there are other similar type buildings. I drove through the neighborhood and I don't see many buildings that are 26 by 40. That's a big building for for a city lot, even though there's multiple lots, that is a big building.
Yes, sir.
Can you scale that back at all?
Could I?
Could you?
I'd prefer not to, based on my own personal experience with a 24 by 36 building that I erected about 8 years ago at my prior residence in Sinclairville.
I guess I'm just concerned that this building is just it's a metal clad building. Is that how you're going to finish the exterior of it?
No, it's going to have some kind of decorative vinyl siding on it.
Okay, that you're going to make it so that it looks more like something that belongs in a residential neighborhood rather than a 26 by 40 foot pole building that belongs in a commercial industrial area. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. And then tell me about getting those cars off the street. I was up through your neighborhood, and that looks like it maybe could be a dangerous curve, and it could pose some problems with snow removal for the DPW in the winter time. Tell me about any accidents that have occurred on that corner in your neighborhood.
No, just sliding into the curbs, coming around the corner too fast, it gets really icy, and you'll just slide right into the curb on the opposite side of the road coming down the hill.
All
And
right.
sliding down the hill too, the ice is really bad there.
Sure. And how about tree removal? Looks like you've removed some trees on the property to put a building on it. Will you be removing any more trees from that property?
The trees that are growing are basically wild trees. Luckily, they're all hardwood, and we plan to cull maybe 20% of them because of overgrowth and double growth. A couple of them are diseased and damaged. We see the maximum tree removal is 3, the ones that are closest downhill and to the sidewalk.
And you're building on the property that's on the lower side,
Correct.
Elm Street side. Okay. And will you keep a barrier of trees in the back between
Yes.
you and your neighbors on Camp Street?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
There's pines, there's pine trees in the back that separate the properties.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments.
Well, Stephen, you asked some very good questions, and basically everything were items on my bullet list of things that we had to deal with. Thank you.
Thank
Other
you.
questions from members of the board? Mr. Johnson, I had a couple. One, and I think Mr. Sword started down this line in terms of the finish. You said you're going to put some kind of vinyl siding on. What about the roofing? What kind of roofing? Are you using shingles or are you using a metal roof?
Well, that's a good question, Ellen. Because of where it's located and the fact that it's probably 30–40% canopy with no sun, we're going to put a decorative metal roof on that deals with leaves better than shingles.
And then my second question related to that is eaves. Are you going to put any eaves on? I know on a metal roof, they have those stoppers that they put on for ice, but are you going to be putting any eaves on that building?
I will take that under advisement from my engineer at Frederickson's Builder Supply. He's already worked up a plan. The pitch that we want to put on this is an 810. So it's going to be relatively steep, but it's going to match a lot of the homes. If that will allow the snow to come off and we need barriers, then I'll let my metal guy tell me that. And if he
Okay,
says
yeah.
yes, we will definitely put them up.
It's a concern, and I think when you get your final plans, if this goes through with Larry, it would be something, we are concerned about any kind of runoff to neighbors. I mean, that's part of the issue, putting in a building of that size and causing more runoff. We would want to make sure that there's eaves or some way to make sure that the water is not now going to cause more runoff to either camp or to your lower neighbors.
Well, the 3 lots they're existing lots.
Right.
And the grade is built right into the side of the hill. So whatever water is going to fall on those 3 lots is all going to run downhill regardless of the pitch of the roof. Now, I've taken it under advisement from Larry that what we can do to alleviate that is when we do all of the grading, we can make the water sheet towards the driveway, towards the sidewalk, towards the street drains.
Mhm.
We're actually looking at improving the drainage situation.
That's good to hear. Good.
By nature, there's three little, I'm going to call them conduits that are built into the grade that already exist to bring the water from the back of the lot to the front of the lot.
Okay.
And when we do the finish grading and do the seeding, we're going to maintain those and improve them as much as we can naturally.
Okay. And in terms of the parking, you said you're going to put those vehicles in the garage. Is there going to be vehicles parked in front of the garage doors as well? Or is the plan not to have anything blocking those doors?
Well, we want to take advantage of the space that we have. And in talking with Larry, he upgraded my sketch to show me I can actually make that frontage deeper. Our plan would be that we would have room for 2 extra cars for Thanksgiving dinner if we needed it. And he just gave us more room, so.
Okay. And then the types of doors, I know you commented that they've gone up in price. Are you still planning on some kind of a carriage door that would open, that it looks like it opens out, or what are you planning?
Let me bring some perspective to that. Right now, the bill of material for the building is sitting around $22,000 for the material. The door alone is $5,000. So yeah, it's going to be a high scale door. It's going to add significantly to the appearance of the building.
The original drawing we had is that there were 3 separate doors, but I take it now you're down to 1. Is that right?
No, I gave a copy of an image off of the internet of the physical ratio of length and width. And
Okay,
that had 3 single doors.
okay.
We're
So,
gonna be using I believe right now we settled on an 8-foot by 16-foot wide. It's going to look like a true carriage house with 4 distinct panels built into it
okay,
with 1920 window panels.
okay. Thank you for answering those questions. Other questions from members of the board? Seeing none, I can tell you that there's no one from the public that has joined the meeting that would want to speak, but we have to ask if there's any correspondence. Is there any correspondence?
We did. We received one note of support. To whom it may concern, reference your request for an area variance for the lots. We have no objection. Signed Edward and Marie Schroeder, and they are at 93 Camp.
93 Camp? Okay, thank you.
That was the only note we received.
We spoke to the perimeter neighbors, of the ones that we felt were impacted. And they were comically, how do I say this? It was comically approved by them that we were doing this. They made jokes about it. And they told us that we had their full support. I didn't know if they would write in or not. But we did get a lot of support.
Well, it's a rather unique situation because there's generally not parcels that are put together that are across the street from each other. Am I right, Mr. Sorg? You're a longtime real estate agent.
You are right, and I reluctantly am probably going to support Mr. Johnson's request for this variance. I don't like to set precedents that would not work well in my neighborhood or your neighborhood. I've gone up to this property a couple of different times, and I think it's unique. I think it's unique with the topography. The road is a rather steep road. There are some vacant parcels below it, and this has 3 parcels, which is unique. It's framed with trees. I would hope you'd keep as many trees as possible to shadow that property so that it didn't have quite the profile that a 26 by 40 foot building might have on most other streets in town. My son was a snowplow operator with the city of Jamestown, and he'd often comment on some of our steep city streets on what a challenge it was to plow them and getting down safely and not hit cars. So from a safety standpoint, I find this easy to approve. You had said that you didn't think you thought it wasn't a significant change from 720 square feet, which is allowed, to over 1,000 square feet is a significant change. It's 44% change. And for most properties, for most neighborhoods, I would probably hands down, reject it. But because of the location, it's not as densely built up as other streets that are flat, that maybe don't have the topography, and with the trees and with the barriers in the back, I feel that I can support them, and I'm putting some confidence in Mr. Johnson. The questions that I have, I like the answers, and I'm confident with his sincerity in what he's bringing us today. Of course, I'm always concerned about who comes in tomorrow. This property could be sold 10 years from now, and you never know who's going to use it then, if they're going to be a mechanic and use it, for, to rebuild cars, or if they're going to be a workshop that might be different than yours, and there's going to be sprayers and odors and noise and dust and things that are going to be different than what you're using it at. So that's always a concern.
Sure. Well, thank you very much, Steve.
All right, at this point, if there's no other questions, we would be looking for a motion on the petition for an area variance at the property at 55 Shady Lane to build an accessory structure that is 1,040 square feet and exceeds the normal allowance of 720 square feet. Is there
I'd make a
someone?
motion to that, with a stipulation that in the request, it said that there was going to be a wood shop. I just want them, I think as a stipulation state that, this is not a commercial grade workshop, that it's a workshop that's going to be, used by the property owner. Is that something, Larry, that could work into a motion?
Yeah, you can put it in. It's more clarifying, but yeah, there's no reason you can't say for personal use, because it can't be used commercially.
That's fine.
Okay. All right.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. So for just clarification, again, the motion is to approve the area variance for the allowance of the structure with the clarifying point that this can only be used for both storage of vehicles and a small portion for a personal wood shop, no commercial use. The
Yes.
motion has been made and seconded. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, if the clerk would please call the roll.
Ms. Kame,
Aye.
Mr. Kenyon,
Aye.
Mr. Sorg,
Aye.
and Chairwoman DeTonto.
Aye. There's 4 ayes. That means that the motion has been approved. It's now up to you to work with Mr. Scalise to get the final plans and to move forward on the project.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no other business, we are going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for
Thank
your,
you.
thank you for your confidence. Thank you.
Bye-bye.